on CNN, they announced that we had been extended to a 15-month deployment. So during that news story, we got immediately informed that we had to form up for a formation and told that, hey, there's some news you might have heard about already. And so we did, our first deployment was 15 months. Then at that time, reading a lot about Pat Tillman, the stories that were on the news every day during the push through Iraq, really just started something inside of me that said, I want to be part of something bigger than what I'm doing now. So I always had this idea that I really enjoyed home brewing, and I kind of liked the idea of starting a brand, but I didn't really know what that was. And then 2010, 11 in Afghanistan, we'd go on missions, come back, have a cigar, have a coffee, have a Coke, whatever, hanging out in places made out of plywood and 2x4s and kind of unwind and BS with the guys. And it started to become part of our conversation that it'd be kind of cool if there was a place like this back home for us. In fact, here in this city, when I initially approached them about putting a brewery here, I was told, can't do it, it's not zoned for that. So my time in the military told me that the person that you usually see at the front desk isn't the person making the decisions. I'll shoot the mayor an email. Who's the mayor? Well, at the time, our mayor was a retired Army colonel. So when I asked him, is it possible? And he said, well, yeah, it is. And in fact, you're the type of business we do want in this town. But I had to get those doors open because when I turned the lock to say I'm open that day, my bank account showed 0. So it was like, I got to do it. If I'm not doing it now, then I'm never doing it.
As soon as I walk through, like pretty much any serviceman that walks through, there's an instant connection and you're like, oh, like this is awesome. I had many conversations with Jared as just a simple patron. And then through word of mouth, found out that he wanted to start dipping his toes into food and barbecue, and I've got a decent amount of background with it. And I was the one that approached him saying like, hey, I heard this is something you want to do, like this is your next step.
We want that beer to tell a story a little bit. What's its attitude? What's its flavor? And what we did was we brought in several local rangers and had them help with the brew day. And again, we kind of sat down with them beforehand and said, what type of beers are you really liking right now? And that's how I came up with the recipe for Sua Sponte, because I wanted something that the guys from Second Bat here at JBLM, when they drink that, they know that that's their beer. Every day when I look around of who's in here, when somebody sits down and says, I'm so thankful this place is here because I was just sitting on my couch and it's so cool to have a place that feels like home. My goal is, I don't want to just be in DuPont, JBLM, Washington. I want to be at every major military installation. So just like in Iraq or Afghanistan, we have FOBs, located throughout the country. And each one is kind of serving a slightly different mission with the same goal. And that's kind of what I see for FOB.